All right, welcome back to the Christian CEO. This is going to be the inauguration of this show. All previous episodes, I have been referring to this podcast as Lazy Day Business, but this is the first official episode that we are going by the title Christian CEO. This podcast will be available on YouTube and Spotify. And I'm currently working on putting together a Patreon that you guys can follow me on. Hopefully, by next episode, that'll be completely set up for you guys. So look out for that. Without further ado, I'm here with Trew. How are you, Trew?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. So, for the audience that might think that I'm saying your name wrong, can you spell your name?
It's Trew. True.
Okay.
It's
So,
you get tricky, but once you get it, it's pretty good.
absolutely. Okay. So, we got Trew Kitch. So, where are you from and what do you do?
I'm a landscaper. I own a landscaping company in Kansas City, Missouri,
Okay.
and I'm 19 years old.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. And so, how long have you been a Christian for?
I've been a Christian my whole life, but I fully not fully understand it, but fully understand the message and devoted my life to Christ like in the last maybe 2 years, like
Okay.
to be for real. You
Okay.
know, a lot of people, me included, you just kind of go to church and you don't do more than that. So I would say 2024 was the first year I did more than just go to church, like open the Bible, like little things that I'm
Right.
still improving on.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Um, so getting a little bit of backstory, for the audience, what was your very first business venture?
I believe it was a little pressure wash thing I did. I got a lot of pressure washing um, machinery, and I just did one job. And I know my dad didn't like taking me anywhere, and I should have found someone else to take me and just paid them, but I wasn't thinking that headed because that's what other people do. So I
Mm,
kind of just gave up on that and
okay.
just waited until I turned 16. I sold all of that equipment, and then I started my landscaping company.
Oh, wow. So your first, like, I don't want to say legit, but like your first full attempt at business was the landscaping company.
Yeah, pretty much. And
Wow.
my dad owns a lawn and landscape company, so I knew like I just want to do landscaping and not lawn mowing because of
Right.
how hectic mowing is. And I was like, I think I could do just landscaping and I really enjoy it. And so that's exactly what I did.
Okay. Sweet. Did you start off in the labor force or were you already just getting contracts from day one?
I started working for my dad when I was like 14 and stuff. Worked for him in the summers. So I knew what I was doing. And then I mowed on the weekends, my dad's friend's house. He was kind enough to let me use his equipment to go mow to make like $90 on a Saturday. And
Nice.
I knocked on the neighbor's door and I asked him if he needed any landscaping done. And then I sold my first job to my first real client. And my first job was like a $5,000 rock job.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. It was a
That is
lot.
cool.
It was a tough one and I did learn a lot. But then that client that I was mowing for, I did his project the following month.
Mhm.
Project was like a rude awakening for me, like about business. Like I still made money, but like I understood like it's more about people than
Yeah.
about yourself. Like you need everyone on the same page. Sometimes the less people is the better. And I definitely figured that out.
So do you feel like that first job, like it was highly motivating for you to get like that proof of concept, like, wow, like I can actually sell $5,000.
Yeah, so I was 16 years old and I didn't have a truck or a trailer or nothing. I just used my dad's equipment. and I was using my friends for labor. I paid them really good, 25 an hour. And I made he tipped me, so it made it 5,000. It was 4,200.
Okay.
So I made in just 2 days of real work. And I don't think I really worked as hard as the other guys, but I made $1,800 like net profit after the rock and labor and everything in two
Wow.
days at 16. So that taught me right away, like, wow, that was like some people make that in a whole week. And I was like, this is possible.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of people, that's 2 weeks of work. Like the
Yeah,
average
yeah,
American.
yeah, a day of work was 1 week for someone else, like 900 in a week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's insane. That's very cool. So
So
how go ahead.
it opened my eyes a lot, like, wow, this is possible. I just need to do it more
Mm,
because so my dad did lawn mowing and I saw the flaws in lawn mowing because you're going around town doing $40 a cut versus this, you're staying in one place and making 900 net profit. Instead of mowing, you have to mow a certain amount of yards to hit 900 in revenue for the day. So
right.
it's easier in landscaping to do higher profit margins.
Wow.
Or not
That
just
yeah,
margins, but high profits total.
that's phenomenal. I mean, like, yeah, that's highly impressive at 16 to be doing $900, per day for 2 days of work. That's phenomenal.
And that second job I did though, the first day, me and my friend who he helped me good, but I learned like I should have just got machinery right away, and
Hmm.
I learned well, you're not a landscaper so it doesn't matter, but I learned things like way earlier that I realize now like I could do that job in 2 days now,
Hmm.
but it took us so long because of just the mistakes I was making because I wasn't prepared for um the demolition of this retaining wall because it looked like just normal uh, veneer or block or whatever, but it was like concreted in. And so
Hmm.
we had to problem solve and problem solve. And so it's hard to problem solve when the people around you aren't thinking to problem solve. So
Right.
I got in a huge fight with my one of my friends. So I had three other people on the job site the second day. And we got in a huge fight. And, I haven't talked to him since almost pretty much because of
Oh,
that. And
wow.
he was like my closest friend. He's my closest friend. And we had enough of each other. I forgive him. I told him I'm sorry like last year. And I still feel guilty because, like, as a Christian, I was a hypocrite to just give up on him.
Yeah, wow.
But
That's
I was
I mean,
16. So I have grace on myself. But hopefully one day the relationship could be made up.
yeah, I mean that's kind of why people warn, going into business with friends. It can
Yeah.
be brutal. Um,
So, yeah, I learned like if I want to do anything more in business, I can't have my best friends helping me. I have to have that friend I know that wants money and that is kind
right.
of smart versus like, oh, you're my best friend, come help me because then
Yeah, it
conflict.
has to be like a merit based,
Yeah,
oh, you're my best friend, but you're also the best marketer I know. Can you help me market this business? Or like,
yeah,
like for some time, like I have really good friends that they are some of like the best laborers I know. Like if I had a job, like a landscaping job, I would trust them to get it done and get it done clean and quality. And so I'm pulling them onto the job not because they're my friend, but because I know they're going to do quality work. And so, um, but yeah, a lot of people run into that, just bringing people on because, you know, you're my friend, but it's not based on anything else. But that's
yeah.
crazy to hear that, you guys still aren't talking. That's wild.
Yeah, it is crazy to think about. And then that job took me like I was just working on it every single day after school, little things. And I had so much like back problems
Mm,
from landscaping and bad form as a kid with working out and stuff that it just like every day I did a little bit of work and then my back started hurting. So then I had to go
Mm.
home because I couldn't afford to have people on the job site to help me because
Right.
I would have made no money. But I think I still made like 1700. So I still made like, after all the hours, I still made probably like maybe 25, 30 an hour, 50
Wow.
an hour, something like that. But I know like right now I could just do that job in 2 days easily.
That's phenomenal. Okay, so like moving on, how has your Christian faith influenced your approach to building and running your landscaping business?
It's mainly about if I want to do something, I have to pray for it.
Hmm.
And, I could do anything through Christ that strengthens me. So I know anything's possible, but uh, I just, just I pray and then I pray for wisdom and then God gives me, let's say, people or knowledge. And
Mm,
it's very helpful because God's not all of a sudden going to give me the business I want, but he'll give me the people to create the business I want over
very
time.
cool.
And
Very
so I
cool.
think the biggest thing is never being impatient with the Lord because he's always working. And then if you look back a year ago or 2 years ago, I'm in the position that I dreamed of.
Mm,
So maybe I didn't dream big enough, you know?
right. Yeah, that's a beautiful answer.
Sometimes I feel like as Christians, we might be too broad. Like, Lord, I want to have my own landscaping company.
Right.
Well, here, but I don't have work. I don't have real goal,
Hmm.
then, you know what I mean? Like I didn't have a real goal. So I have a landscaping company now, but I have no more because I never prayed for more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's, very wise. Like you have to, one, you have to be extremely specific in prayer. Like,
Yeah.
um, and then two, you have to also be like flexible. Like even in the Bible, you know, when Jesus prayed, when he prayed, "Can you remove this cup from me?" His second, like he also responded to that by saying like, "But if you can't remove this cup, give me the strength to like, and you can apply that same logic to business. Like, hey, either give me the wisdom to close this job or,
Yeah.
give me the wisdom to weather this winter that, I'm not going to have a lot of work. Like, so you're specific in both ways, but you're also being flexible, which
That's
um can be
those are
blessed.
some good prayers for me. I've been praying mainly like, Lord, give me like I have a revenue goal of like hitting over 1 million this year.
Hmm.
But I've been praying like, Lord, give me amazing clients to do amazing work for these amazing jobs that I enjoy.
Right.
And versus just getting jobs, making money, and so on and so forth. I'd rather just have an amazing client, build a great relationship with them, do a great job for them, and then that will build me way further than just
Looking
what
at
I
from
was doing kind of last year, and it didn't
yeah.
work out.
Very good. So you mentioned earlier in the podcast that you are from Kansas City. And so as a landscaper in Kansas City, is what type of jobs are you usually doing? Like, is there specific niche landscaping that you often do, or is it mostly just suburban developments?
I would say like retaining walls, just patios. Turf isn't a big thing here.
Okay.
It's maybe starting, and I think it could be a good niche for
Hmm.
me. There's only a couple of companies that do it, but there's not a lot of people that want it because our backyards are so big.
Hmm.
And so mainly it's like rock, retaining walls, and just little things like that. So there's really pretty just a Midwest, similar to Colorado. Colorado's a little different, but it pretty similar. It just depends on the client and the area.
Right.
is the biggest thing, really.
Very cool. So if somebody came to you who is 16 and they're wanting to start a landscaping company, what's your advice to someone like that? Where do they start?
Mm. Is it's more about like yeah, it's no you have to find people that know what they're doing
Hmm.
first. So you're not going to be the landscape pro. You need to find someone that is the landscape pro. You have to do your research about everything before you even start. You have to understand retaining walls, uh, drainage, sod, dirt, rock, basics things. And then from there, which I learned from my dad,
Hmm.
and then from there, at 16, personally, I would start door knocking for if you don't want to mow lawns, but you could get a couple blowers or you could rent blowers, you could borrow backpack blowers. I would door knock in certain seasons for certain things. Like I was door knocking for leaf removal and Christmas lights. So I was
Mm.
door knocking. I got like 20 leaf removals. They weren't all from door knocking, but majority of it was in one area. And I got a couple Christmas lights jobs, and so it all just compounded. But imagine if you do that every year for 5 years,
Right.
that's a lot of money, which I didn't do because I went a different route versus that
Hmm.
the smaller things, which I still enjoy because it's a day of easy money, in my opinion. And then from there, you just that client that needed leaf removal, they're your client now. They trust you because you did a great job. Then you ask them, hey, Miss Johnson, I noticed you need uh, your mulch bed revamped. Like, is there anything you want to do to it? Like, do you want to
Hmm.
meet about it? And so I did that to this client, and I ended up selling from a $150 leaf removal job from door knocking. I ended up selling a $28,000 landscape job when I was 17 years old.
Mm.
All of a sudden, my biggest job was like 6,500. All of a sudden, I was door knocking. I quit working for my dad, which we can get in another story about how I dropped out of high school to work for my dad. And then in October 2023, I went full time on my own business, True Landscape. And I was just amazed how God is so good because I put in the effort to door knock, and God rewarded me after I was patient for months, rewarded me with this big job that I subcontracted all of it out at 17, or I turned 18. So it was like my first real deal, but I subcontracted it to like my friends who have like a fence business and my friend's
Wow.
dad who does landscaping. I would go a full different route now, because I don't want to deal with people I knew before and that I'm friends with because
Right.
there's problems with that, just like friends and business. It's not a good match, there's no authority. And so right then, like you were door knocking for Leafs and now all of a sudden you got this big job, which won't happen to everyone, but the more contacts, the more contracts. So the more people you could
Mm.
knock for mowing, the more people you could door knock for aerating, which all these things like a
Right.
16-year-old can do. They could get a push mower, they could get a small little mower, small little trailer, small little truck. They don't even need a truck to be honest. And if they live in a neighborhood, they're more fortunate. And so they could do these seasonal things, gutter cleaning, all these little things. And, little Johnny can get all these phone numbers. And then when he starts doing something new, like concrete, he could
Hmm.
take everyone, all 100 of his clients that he's done work for,
Wow.
and say, hey, I'm offering concrete work. Do you need anything? And then, it just domino effect.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. Like, contract or contacts get contracts because I think I talk to a lot of young entrepreneurs who they are thinking so far ahead that like they're talking about stuff that they don't need. Like,
Uh,
for instance, like there's people who haven't even sold their first job and they're looking into like CRMs like HubSpot. And it's like you don't even have clients to manage. Like, why are you looking into
yeah.
CRMs? You don't need a CRM.
I
Like
mean,
you
that
have
could be good, but they can't afford it, you know?
exactly that. And it's like build out a tiny little black book before you worry about,
Yeah.
a CRM. Like your phone can hold, I mean, your brain alone can hold 400 contacts. So, like, until you have I recommend until you have like 15 client relationships, you do not need a CRM. Like, you can manage those relationships completely on your own.
And I have a CRM that is pretty cheap. It's not like Jobber, it's similar, but it's only like 20 bucks a month minimum. And if you only
Mm.
have a certain below client rate, like estimate per month, it's like it could be 20, 15 bucks a month. And so
Right.
then you could have Notes app on your phone, which is free.
Exactly.
Keep
Exactly.
organized, which I did for all my leaf removals and Christmas
Hmm.
lights and mulch jobs. Mulch
Yep.
is a big one too. And little things like that. And then same with like snow removal. Snow removal is a great one. I would do it now. If I want more clients, I'd go knock on the door, snow removal, get their phone number, and then say, "Hey, Miss Johnson, I own True Landscape. Do you need any landscaping?" You
Right.
know,
Exactly. Or even
I
like
got their phone number, you know?
exactly. Or even like a spreadsheet. Like
Yeah.
spreadsheets are free and they're highly organized. So until you fill out like a certain amount of that spreadsheet to where it's actually getting overwhelming, you do not need a CRM. Now, if
Yeah.
you are, coming up with a grand scaling plan, then obviously it's okay to initiate like a CRM a little bit early, but that
Yeah.
CRM better pay for itself after like, a month.
Yeah, with like if you don't know what you're doing, it's kind of pointless. I
Exactly.
realized like I could have had a good CRM last year and same with like this year, you know. But when I meet with a client, I know exactly like if I really want to work with them or not, and if they really want to mess with me. And if I don't really mess with them, I really don't follow up as good as I should for a great client wanting a
Yeah.
great product. Because I
Yeah.
don't want to deal with everyone I meet, I'm not going to do business with, and that's okay. But I
Yeah.
could do business with someone they know, but like they might not be able to afford it. They might not, they
Right.
might go with another bid. And that's fine. And but now I have their contact in my phone.
Yeah. That's
So
awesome. Okay, so you're 19 and you're married. So
yes, sir.
uh soon.
Yes, sir.
Many
No, I am married.
You are married. Okay. So many young entrepreneurs struggle with balancing work and personal life. So how do you prioritize your time and maintain a healthy balance owning a business and marriage at 19?
Well, if you ask my wife, I don't do that good.
Okay.
I drive her crazy with everything. And but what I would say whatever you do, go 100% into it. If you're at the
Mhm.
gym, go 100% in the gym. If you're at work, go 100% at work. If you're doing work, go 100% at work. If you're with your family, be present, be 100% with your family. So
Yes.
that's how, like, don't quit thinking about, man, I could be calling clients right now. Because if you weren't with your family, you wouldn't be calling clients. But because you're with your family, you're like, oh, I
Exactly.
could be doing this, but then you're just not present and grateful for the moment. And so
Absolutely.
throw down your phone, put that down. Sometimes like I'd have to tell my girl like, hey, it's the spring's gonna be insanely busy. Like it's gonna be grind time, I say, and it drives her crazy. Like grind time, like I will be grinding like 12 hours a day, like not like last year. Last year I took off way too much time. We watched way too much Netflix.
Mm,
And this year I want to suc like be more successful and do more work because like I need to, you know.
yeah. That's awesome. I completely agree with your answer. Like wherever you're at, give it your full attention and go
And
all in on
it
it.
it's hard sometimes. Like I realize like we go to church on Saturday nights and I'm never 100% there on Saturday nights. But on Sunday mornings,
Hmm.
I'm there. Like I
Right.
feel like I'm present, I'm there because
Hmm.
at the end of the day, I'm always thinking about certain things or whatever on Saturday night and my family's there. But when I'm just there with me and my girl, me and my wife, I'm like, I'm present, I'm there. And so I realized like I need to go Sunday morning so I could be more present. So like figuring out what works is
Hmm.
better. If you need to put your phone away, if you need to put your phone away but have like an Apple Watch so you get a notification just in case if you have that much
Right.
anxiety, like, but whatever you do, do 100%, give everyone uh, your presence, and that's the biggest thing. You could the biggest thing is being vocal and saying the truth or being honest and communication like,
Hmm.
hey, I'm going to be working for one more hour. Do you have anything you could do during that so we can be productive together or something
Right.
like that? Or, hey, I have one more hour, or hey, I'll
Yep.
be home at 5, or hey, I'll be home at 5. Like, uh, my wife works a 9 to 5 at a fast food restaurant, Cane's Chicken Tenders, but she's going to college. So she's going to college to become a teacher. So
Nice.
she's been working there for 5 years. So, a lot
Wow.
of people quit, find a new job, quit, find a new job. She's just been consistent, which I'm proud of her.
Hmm.
Eventually, she's just going to be a teacher,
That's
and
awesome.
that's amazing. But sometimes she has to come home after working 8 to 4 and then just do school, college all night. And
Mm.
I'm like, that's lame, but I have to let her get her work done, you
Yeah,
know?
for sure. That's awesome. A little tip that is just coming from me. My wife and I
Uh,
have AMC has the subscription called A-List. For $24 a month, you can see 4 movies a week for free. And so we have that subscription because we find it far more interesting than Netflix. Um, because it's something that me and her, we leave the house, we go get our snacks. Like it's something that it becomes so easy for us both to be fully present at the
uh,
movies as opposed to like Netflix. It's so hard to be like present during that, or even like sometimes she wants to do like pottery or like coloring books, and I'm like sometimes pottery and coloring books sounds great, but sometimes I'm like, this is quite literally the last thing I think I would do if I was. But hey, so that's the sacrifice, because sometimes she sacrifices too, like there's things that I ask her to do for me that she would. Oh my gosh, she's so bored out of her mind, like.
yeah, for sure.
But that's life. That's
We've
love.
been going bowling a lot lately. We've
I
gone
saw
bowling.
that on your Instagram.
Yeah, so I was thinking, and we're trying not to spend so much money. So I was like, well, instead of going to Target and spending $30 or more, because every time you walk into Target, you're just spending money.
Yeah,
Sometimes
exactly.
not. You get really lucky if you have a wife. You walk out of Target with nothing, the day the day's ruined. That's
Yes,
not
absolutely.
like she's mad. She's ticked. She's like, I couldn't find anything good, you know, whatever. So, but
Yeah.
go to just like the movies, but you go bowling and you could be competitive, which I'm annoyingly competitive, but we're just like trying to like it's like an activity we could do. We're
Mhm.
burning calories. We're like trying to be better at bowling. Like actually, we're
Yeah,
horrible. We're trying to be better. And so it's a mind game. And then it's only like $30 for 3 games.
that's
But
awesome.
and it's a date. So it's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you can go on a date to a Target and just mope around and buy
Dude,
her new jeans, or you could go on a nice bowling date.
dude, I absolutely love that. Like that cracks me up because that is I know that there's other married men who know exactly what you're talking about, including myself. Like when you go on a Target date, one of you guys is leaving unhappy. Either she found
Uh,
something awesome and the dude is not happy with it, or
yeah.
she's mad because she didn't find anything and she didn't get to spend money. And it's like bowling and movies are just way better.
Yeah, I'm not a movie guy, so I couldn't do that. Like, I don't like movies.
No?
No, I fall asleep, so that'd just be $24 a month for like 4 naps, which
Hey,
that'd be
dude, but that's an elite
yeah.
nap,
For
man. Like,
me, for me, yeah, Netflix, like I don't like Netflix. Like
damn.
I don't like sitting down and watching things. Like I'd rather be doing things.
Yep.
But sometimes you have to just relax and that's what my lady wants to do. Sometimes I want to do it. We've been rewatching Breaking Bad and we've been binging that. Like it's horrible, but we've been doing that and
That's awesome.
I'd rather just be working towards our future than just brain
Yes.
rotting ourselves
Yeah.
watching drug deals happen and stuff like that. Really, really with movies, in my opinion, like people like I've never watched a scary movie in my life.
Hmm.
Not because I'm afraid of it. It's because like I don't like demons in me and I don't like to think and be paranoid and
Yeah.
have and so it's like if it's like scary, creepy, like I just don't want that in my mind. Like I have enough problems. Like I don't want like to watch scary rated R movies with blood and all
Yep.
that kind of stuff I shouldn't be seeing.
Yeah.
So it's hard, but I don't judge.
Yeah, no, I really just like of everything that you just said, the Target thing is still making me laugh. Like that's so funny. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Do you have a mentor, and if so, how have they contributed to your success?
So right when I dropped out of high school, I think I had this mentor. His name's Tegan Gertz, and he just proved like, wow, project-based work is it. He has a landscaping company. He did W-2 employees, and I've been doing W-9s. But so that was like my first mentor. And then he went on trips and with these people like myself, but I was too young at the time and I didn't have enough money, which I eventually went on a trip with him. So I followed these other people. And so I only follow like less than 20 people at all times. And some people I unfollow them if I don't mess with them too much. And I follow new people to slowly learn about it because I can't be following too many people because then I'm looking at too many things. And so like too many people are like, do this. And then another person says, do this. They're both millionaires, but they said two different things. Who do I
Right.
listen to?
Right.
Okay, I'm going to listen to this person for a year, see
What
how
happens?
it bothers me. But mentorship is like the most important thing, is like just like Jesus is our ultimate mentor, like or not mentor, but like, wow, everything he did, we need to do
Right.
in relationship with Christ and let's in that religion,
Right.
part.
Right.
But in business, you could just cheat, just like I cheated in school before I dropped out. Like, hey, I'll give you $10,000. Give me
Yep.
everything your time, whatever, coaching program, blah, blah, blah. Boom, you just skyrocket.
Right.
All. And so that person, I I I went to his he did an event. So I went there, but I it wasn't like right before I sold this $28,000 job as a 17-year-old, I went to this event. I found a great friend who's also my age doing what I'm doing, similar to your friend
Trevor.
Trevor, young and doing landscaping. And I found him, but then and then someone saw me there and DM'd me who has like 100,000 followers. And so I joined his coaching program.
Mm.
So from there, like I just learned Facebook ads and just skyrocketed. Plus, now I use all that information. Plus, I have another mentor's information for hard or for landscaping. and his new one was Facebook ads and concrete. And so now I'm to a point where, okay, I just know what I need to do. I know everything I could do for landscaping. I know what I need to do. It's just, do I want to do it or not?
Right.
There's a certain amount of money. Like I spent too much money on mentorship. I think if you spend it, you could always go back to it. That's great.
Right.
You could always go back to it and look at it a year later and realize, holy cow, like this is a gem. This is exactly what I need right now. And so you're like, oh wow, I'm so happy I spent $6,000 on that.
That's awesome.
And then you cheat code like you just skip levels. Like instead of figuring out yourself, you just skip levels. And that's amazing. Like social media is a thing
Hmm.
because just skipping levels and people only say so much on social media, but once you finally get their time and you pay them money, it's like they help you.
That's awesome.
And so you got to buy a mentorship, elevate, plateau, buy a mentorship, elevate, plateau. And obviously
Mm.
some downfall. But you'd never want to, and I might have done this kind of like if you follow too many people or do too many mentorships at once, you can't follow everything. So you're just like
Yes.
do
Yep.
everything. People
Yeah.
can't people are saying two different things. But if you like feel like your plateau, another thing could, right now I feel like landscaping, I'm plateauing and I understand a lot of it. And now it's just a numbers game and money. And
Yep.
if I could once I could delegate more in my business, it'll just be easier and easier. So now I'm thinking like, oh shoot, I need to, not need to, but I want to like do a mentorship on real estate because I subcontract landscaping, so I know I could subcontract to flip a house or, like
Right.
different things. And I could learn it because I learned everything I needed to know about concrete fences, decks, and, it like, I don't know everything about it, but I know the people that know everything about it. So
Exactly.
I know how easy it is, and it's only a mind game after a certain point. And so I just need to elevate myself to another point.
That's awesome. Very good. So what is your long-term vision for your landscaping business? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I'll be 24. Um, I don't have a 5 year plan. I have a goal this year. I have a goal of what I want to do, like a vision. I don't
Hmm.
have a goal like, oh, in 5 years, I want to have a $10 million landscape company because I don't want to cap myself to having to stay in the industry. Like, what if
Hmm.
like, if you go year by year, you're like, oh, shoot, like, I could flip one house a month and make 25 grand net profit versus landscaping. I have to do all this work to get 20 grand gross profit or something like that.
Right.
So like I always want to just be getting better. True landscape in 5 years. I mean, I might get rebranded. I see people in my situation buying like other companies, like fertilizing companies that do uh, fertilizing and other things like that. So I might look in because if they're already doing it and they're kind of my mentor, I was like, shoot, I should be looking into it now because they're
Right.
they're educated enough. Everyone I follow is pretty much godly based. And so I just have to copy what they're doing. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I
Yep.
could literally do like Chase Gallagher does, has his landscape business through that cash flow, has his real estate business. Obviously, he's making cash flow now through it. And then he just bought a fertilizing company. And so in my mind, it's like, okay, those three things are three things I could work at. Because
Nice.
like I know it's so possible. Like there's so enough time in the day. And once I delegate one company, like the next two would be a piece of cake.
That is awesome.
Hopefully, knock on wood. Not a piece of cake. Like
Yeah, no, yeah.
I would say it's so easy to hit 500K in landscaping now.
Hmm.
but it's not easy. I'd say it's easy if you really want to do it, but if you're half doing it, it's not easy.
Yeah,
And
it's easy on paper. Like,
yeah,
yeah, on
it
paper it's easy.
I had a lot of problems, and I learned from a lot. So it's how you handle everything. And if you have faith in the Lord, it's like you laugh at it kind of. You're like right now I'm in a civil case. I'm being sued by this neighbor. And so I just have faith in the Lord. Like, I'm learning about all of this. I have no clue. I told the attorney, I'm like, I don't, dude, I have no clue. I watch Suits on Netflix, and that's as good as I know. And I wasn't paying attention.
Yep.
So, like, I'm learning, and that's good to learn. Oh, I know the good always comes out to win, I think. So,
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much, True. We are going to go to our Blitz questions. So we have just two questions for you. Try to answer these in less than a minute. Um, so yeah, I guess to start off, what is your favorite business book?
I don't have a business book. I don't read.
You don't have a business book. Okay, that's
No, I would be
I
a hypocrite if I read a book, but I don't read the Bible.
I actually love the fact that you said that because
No.
sometimes I'll be interviewing someone and I'm not calling anyone out. This is not interviewing someone for this specific podcast. So no one try to go in my past episodes and figure out who I'm talking about. This is beyond this podcast. But
Man,
sometimes I will be
rich
talking to
dad, poor
someone.
dad, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they'll like start thinking they'll like, yeah, rich dad, poor dad. It's just like I could tell you don't I could tell you don't read.
No, I need to read, but there's YouTube and a lot of things
Absolutely.
like books are great, but if you watch a podcast, like some people are just different. Like there's podcast people, there's book people. Like
Yes,
there's great podcasts that are
there
like,
is.
wow, eye-opening, like changed my life. If 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 I read a book of how to get rich, but I don't read my Bible,
Right.
isn't that just shameful to God?
Yeah. So
You
are
know?
you let's rephrase the question. Is there a podcast that you would recommend?
I would recommend listening to Luke Belmar, long form podcast, probably 2 years ago, and just listening like how how it's a belief system, and
Mm.
he's I don't know if he's a Christian, but if they believe in a higher power, I just like think that's better than being
Nothing,
atheist.
yeah. Yeah.
So I think he's Christian. He reads the Bible, the Holy Bible, like. But I would recommend watching his podcast, and he pretty much says the same thing every time, and so it's just pretty great. Like he opened my eyes, like how the government and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't. I could get into that, but you know what I mean. Like if yeah, the government, stuff like that, and you're just like, wow. You're just like
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes, and then sometimes you're blinded, and then you just have to ask God, like, open my eyes, Lord, and let me have a new vision on this. Let me have a new, because some things I'd do 2 years ago, I'd be like, I thought I was doing good, but I'd be doing bad. And now it's
Mm.
like, I hope I still progress with like food and what I put in my body. And a lot of people don't know what they're putting in their body. And I mean, now with like the red wave and everything and what's going on is kind of popping up.
Hmm.
But like before it started popping up, I was learning about it, which is crazy. Like, and all of a
Hmm.
sudden it's going to be a national or not it is a national thing.
Yeah,
Now
it is. Yeah.
all of a sudden it's going to be a TV thing, which is just crazy. Like, man, that's crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah, you were supposed to recommend that people keep listening to this podcast. No,
Oh
no,
yeah,
I'm
this,
just messing. Keep listening
and
to the Christian CEO.
yeah, I mean, I'd say Luke Belmar changed my pers you know, my
perspective.
perspective. Yeah. I would listen to a lot of podcasts that just did not matter. Like if you're
Mm.
listening to Impulsive, Logan Paul's podcast, I listen to every single episode, but wouldn't gain a thing.
Yeah, there's nothing there. There is no substance there. I mean,
It
I or
it is like
who?
a dopamine hit,
Hmm.
and I watched one lately, and I was like, this is entertaining. This is keeping me busy,
Hmm.
but it's not keeping me productive.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's one of those things like you could watch it, but you shouldn't just be like that's your source of
Yes, absolutely.
wisdom, you know?
Yeah.
That
I do want to clarify my statement. I have never watched or listened to that show, so I can't speak on it
like
intelligently, but the
The Nelk Boys podcast,
mm,
Full Send podcast.
mm,
Like some of it's good, and you're like, oh yeah, okay. Like some of the like Gary Brecka, you know Gary Brecka,
I do not.
the health biohacker guy, crazy guy. Like if you watch his podcast with anyone, it's gonna be good.
Mm,
And things like that, it's just brain rot half the time, and it doesn't matter. And you realize like if you're trying to be successful, you shouldn't care about a UC or UFC fight, NFL game, NBA game,
mm,
uh, anything on Twitter, to be honest. Like if you're trying to be successful, don't have Twitter or X, whatever.
right.
Like you should be devotedly trying to just better yourself, in my opinion,
Hmm.
and like not just wasting time because
Yeah,
time is valuable. And yeah, it's crazy.
absolutely. All right, last question. What is a key standout moment in your business career that you are proud of?
Huh. Probably just probably what I hit in revenue last year at 18 years old. It made me feel like so I dropped out right when I turned 17 years old and I worked for my dad and
Hmm.
I stopped working for him October 2023.
Hmm.
And so 2024 was my year to prove to everyone like I'm not a high school dropout. I'm the businessman. I'm the
Mm.
guy. And people knowing me, like people, everyone I was with knew I would be successful. People had its doubts, but now like I could prove it, and I did prove it, and I
Mm.
did something at a young age where not a lot of people do, and there's people that did better than me, and it's amazing, you know. And so that's probably the main thing I'm proud of is I hit almost like right under 700K in
Wow.
revenue at 18 years old. And so this year my goal is 1 million. I want to
Mm.
hit 1 million, 1.2 million, but definitely beat last year 100% because this year I have new eyes and
Hmm.
I have a new or not a new wife, but I have my wife now that I live with in my
Yeah.
apartment. And so there's less distractions. We live in a
Yes.
great place. So what was the question again? What I'm proud of? Yeah. Wait. Was it a business question?
Yeah, just well, just what yeah, what standout moment in your business career are you proud of? And I
And
think,
then personally, it's like getting
so.
married young too and proving like I can be getting married at 18, hitting goals at 18, and trusting the Lord at 18 and posting and things like this to motivate people that are older or younger than me.
Yeah, that's
And
phenomenal.
that's what I'd say I'm proud of. Like obviously on the outside looking in, it looks amazing. Like people think I have 700K cash, which I don't.
I
So
actually one of
landscaping
my
is like a 20% and less net revenue.
Mhm.
And with all the problems last year, I spent pretty much all of it. And
Oh
so
wow.
I had to on something like my transmission went out and then I got screwed over on it and blah
Mm,
blah blah. I got a new truck. I lots
mm,
of problems because I ask God for wisdom. He gives me problems, he gives me solutions, and then I learn.
right.
I ask God for patience, and then I'm in a traffic jam. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
you're always
absolutely.
like, Lord, give me patience, and then the wife is taking forever, and you're like, hurry up. And then you're in a traffic jam and you're ticked off. But all you have to do is just laugh about it like, man, God is good.
Shouldn't have prayed for patience. No, I'm just
I
messing.
asked and I shall receive.
Yep. That is awesome. Um, yeah, I mean, this isn't really a question. This is kind of just a statement on what you were saying. I think it's hilarious sometimes when I hear people talk about like celebrities' net worth and they think that that person has that amount of money in their bank account. And it's like, guys, that's not how net worth works. Like Elon
Yeah,
Musk does not have $300 billion sitting in his Chase account. Like that's not how that works.
yeah, yeah. I don't even know I'm not for sure how it works. I think there is a way to make it more, but it's a side note. Doesn't
Yeah.
I mean, you can hate on rich people because you're broke. You can hate on everyone because you're not it, but
Yeah.
not really good for them.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Well, that concludes the first official episode of the Christian CEO with Trew Kitch. Like I said, this podcast will be posted on YouTube and Spotify, and I am going to be working on the Patreon. Thank you, everybody who tuned in and stayed to the end. You guys are lifesavers, and I will catch you in the next one.